Right, there we go. Hello there, it's Joe again, talking about joy today. Joy of joys. So joy, what comes up when you think of joy? I know you probably think it's probably one of the good emotions, but like I've said before, there's no such thing as a good emotion. Like they're all good if you like. There's not really a bad one. So the emotion's purpose is to be giving you feedback on your life and what's going on around you, what's going on inside yourself. Problems come with joy from some kind of breakdown in a relationship somewhere with oneself. Personal example, like when I was young, I was full of joy, and was my default setting. I know it was. And what used to happen was I had some teachers who really didn't like that. Not just me, but particularly they didn't like boys who were very happy, so they used to go out of their way to beat that joy out of the young folk. So what I learned was joy was actually quite a dangerous thing. Seems a bit odd, doesn't it? But it makes sense when you know that stuff, doesn't it? But so what I also learned from that is you can be influenced largely by what someone else's experiences with emotion. So for example, if you're not much in relationship with joy, and you've got a child or a friend that's very joyful, what does it bring up inside you? Do you get annoyed with them? Do you wish they would stop it? Do you say things like what you're so happy about, or do you say things like, if you don't say it, you maybe would have heard it. People sometimes they say things to people like, are you been drinking, or are you on drugs or something? When they say someone who's joyful. That's true. Sometimes people have been drinking and have been on drugs, and that's a different kind of joy to what I'm talking about. So that kind of joy is dependent on something, some substance. So it's dependent on, it's like a performance-enhancing drug or something, a joy-enhancing drug. So I'm not talking about any enhanced states of consciousness through drugs. I'm talking about just what's that basic feeling of your natural self, of joy, your joyful effervescence, I love the way the French say joie de vivre, that joy of life. What's it like to feel that? Do you feel that very often and comfortably and easily, or do you not? So when you start to describe joy, it's things like you feel light. You talk about sensations. You feel lightness. You feel brightness. You might have a colour that comes to mind, perhaps orange or yellow or something bright and breezy, like maybe a sky blue or something. So what does joy bring to mind for you? And you can find out for yourself what's your relationship with joy by just saying to yourself, joy is, and what? So finish that sentence, joy is. So like that experience I just shared, joy is a bit dangerous for me, back there. It sounds a bit daft on ordinary consciousness kind of level, but in my body it still could be dangerous. So joy for you might be easy, might be good, might be light, might be breezy, whatever it is. Give you a clue. I think the problems around joy come when people imagine that there are in fact good and bad emotions, and joy is a good one and it's one of the better ones, and they would like to keep hold of it. So it's a popular misconception. People imagine that they need to strive for happiness and imagine that they'll only be happy when they're happy. There's a bit of a problem in that kind of thinking, because the moment you're feeling anything other than happiness or joy, you suddenly start to judge everything as bad. But it's not bad. What is bad is to imagine you have to be at this level of joy all the time. That's perhaps not so healthy, because life's a bit like that. Life's a bit like up and down, isn't it, stuff happens in your life and you feel joy. Sometimes joy comes about spontaneously. Have you ever had that when you're just driving along in your car or walking on a nice sunny day or in the snow or in the rain and you just feel all light and happy for no apparent reason? It's just spontaneous. That's your true self starting to emerge. Pretty cool feeling, isn't it? And when you start to analyse it, it'll kind of disappear off into the background. So it's meant to come, it's meant to go, and it's like all emotions, it's meant to change, and it's like the nature of everything actually is that it changes. So to hang on to it like crazy joy is certainly guaranteeing that it will come to an end, and then on comes the misery. So joy, it's can be fleeting kind of feeling, or it can be around a lot. So like, what's your default? Have you got a default emotion? Is it joy? Have you been around someone whose default emotion is joy, and like remain genuine kind of joy in the bones? What does it feel like when you're around them? And it feels pretty good. Have you noticed how infectious it is? How infectious it is when you're around someone that's as happy as all that? You've seen those videos on the computers where they have some person laughing on a train, and within a few stops everyone on the train's laughing. It's because it's infectious. Children are usually very good at being joyful till something might get in the way of it for them. Children are spontaneous. They can laugh, they can sing, they can run, and they can skip. Skipping's a good trick to be able to do. Try and be sad and skip at the same time. It's not very easy. Music. So how do you find out, and how do you increase your relationship with joy? So find out things that give you joy. Do more of that. You know, if you like to walk in nature, do that. If you like to spend time with your children, do that. If you like art, do that. So find out what brings your heart and soul to life, and you're going to find out what makes you more joyful, and allow yourself the pleasure of having some pleasure in life. It's a great place to start. I've got a ukulele. That's what I do. Have a bit of fun and play with the ukulele. It's a beautifully joyful instrument. Have you seen? I mean, I'm not very good at it, but it just sounds so beautiful. It's very joyful little instrument, easy to pop in your backpack and go travelling with. So that'll be homework. Find out what makes you joyful and do some more of it. I'll speak to you next time. Cheerio.